Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all of you wonderful fans out there. I'm Adam, aka WXFan21, joined by Charlie, aka the FF Toilet Ninja, aka the guy who may or may not be rooting for the Colts to get Marvin Harrison Jr. What's up, Charlie?
What's up, man?
He's
Long
coming to the
time no see. I
Patriots.
almost forgot what you look like.
He's coming to the Patriots, my dude.
No, he's not. Y'all using that spot for a quarterback?
He's
you
coming
kidding me?
to
You need a
the
quarterback.
Pats.
You can't take wide receiver. You got no one to throw
He's
to.
coming to the Pats, and we're gonna end up drafting Spencer Rattler.
Come here. You want to say something?
No. What do I have to say then?
No, about the sun god.
Sun god.
What we say about tomorrow? All hail the sun god.
I had a sun god.
There you go. Get on out of here. I love
Yeah.
you.
All right, Charlie. As I typed to a couple people,
Wait.
let's get this going.
Yeah, let's do this. We got all these games on the slate to talk about. I'm excited.
4-game slate.
That's fun. I like it. I dig it. I dig it last week. It's cool.
It's going to be really difficult this week to figure out a good spot. I mean, there are a couple of quarterbacks that, we're going to talk about. So what we're going to do is we're going to go position by position here. And I didn't realize that I already have the DraftKings thing up. So let's just switch back to this for a second. Charlie, all the upsets last week. All the upsets. Green Bay upset. The Cowboys got up. The Green Bay upsets the Cowboys. I mean, there was Houston upsetting the Browns. I almost had the Browns-Cowboys Super Bowl with the way both of those teams are playing. Browns just didn't show up. Well, they tried.
Yeah, man.
Green Bay was the biggest shock of the entire weekend.
It was. That was. I thought that the Cowboys eventually were going to lose in the playoffs. That's just what Cowboys do. But I didn't think it was going to be that game. I was shocked. And I'll tell you that now. Look, I know there's a lot of people. There's several people on Dads of Bacon who feel very strongly one way or another about Jordan Love. I hadn't really said much either way about nothing on like anything, but I don't know. I mean, it's half good, it's half bad if you look at the regular season.
You see all the space behind me?
Starting to be a believer, man. I'm starting to be a believer.
See all the space behind me?
Yeah.
Get on the Jordan Love train.
Yeah.
Just get on. My name's Adam. I'm your captain. I have been championing this kid. I have been telling people he's good. The dude's been part of my language. He's been shit on for most of the year. I don't understand it. The kid was off and on to start. It was his, basically, you want to call it his rookie campaign, sitting 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers. End of the season, they were playing with house money. They were just outstanding. By the way, no Christian Watson.
They'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really need him.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Christian Watson through this, but what a very fun Super Wildcard weekend. But now, this is it, Charlie. It's the last 4-game slate of the 2023 NFL season. This is it. This is the last 4-game slate before we get to Conference Championship weekend, down to 2 games, and then Super Bowl Sunday. This is it. This is the last chance to get in there. We get a Millie Maker in there, $25, million up top for the $25 entry. If you get your Dynasty rewards, make sure you get all those crowns in. But let's do this, Charlie. We're going to go position by position here, as we always do.
Love you. Bye.
So we're going to go position by position. Hopefully y'all can see the screen all right. We're going to start off with Josh Allen, 8,000, followed by Lamar Jackson at 7,900. The question is, Charlie, is what are we doing with Allen and then Jackson this week? I would much rather take a shot on Lamar Jackson than I would Josh Allen. But if you were to tell me that Kansas City and Buffalo shootout, wouldn't surprise me. What are we doing with these two quarterbacks?
So I'm going to stay away from Josh Allen. Okay, guys. Daddy's doing something. I love you guys. Get out. You want to go to wrestling tomorrow?
And that's why we're Dads with Bacon.
You understand? You either go leave now, or we won't go tomorrow. I love you, but it's your choice, buddy. I'm going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you, sir.
It comes
Rivalry,
down
man.
to it comes down
Sorry,
to the last
guys.
number, Charlie. It comes down to the last number.
Oh, always. It always does. That's why I stopped counting to 10. It takes too long.
As Gov says, you tell him.
So,
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. This might be a question that people are building on because you can look at this.
if I'm paying up, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson.
Better matchup.
I will say this. I want to save money somewhere this week, and I think that relatively all these quarterbacks are pretty good for fantasy. So I am paying down in almost all of my lineups for QB because I
would agree with that.
I want money in my receivers.
Unless we can find some value, I definitely think that's the way to go. Now, look, from a large field GPP standpoint, if you want to get up to a Josh Allen and fade stacking him with Diggs, and you want to get different and get like a Gabe Davis, a Khalil Shakir, heck, if you want to go with Kincaid or even Knox, who I played last week and he got a touchdown,
Kincaid.
You can get different with Allen because it would not surprise me if KC at Buffalo shoots out. Now, again, all this is going to depend on weather. Supposedly, the Bill Stadium was covered in snow again.
Yeah, but they're paying $20 an hour, so the fans are out there slipping and sliding, and they're not having any snowfall.
Did you see the video of the fan was everywhere? He just shirt off and he slid down the snow pipe.
Dude, I want to do that. I was like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. Only in Buffalo, man. I'm surprised that he wasn't on a table.
There you go.
Oh,
yeah, that was pro wrestling fan. Sorry. All right, so I think from a large field GPP standpoint, Josh Allen is fine. I agree with you on Lamar Jackson. I think he's got the best chance in terms of passing and rushing, with no surprise. But it is Houston. If you were to tell me passing, rushing versus KC, versus Buffalo, versus the Niners, right? Like I'm going to be a little bit more cautious on that. I'm not going to be as, thumbs up. Let's go play some Lamar Jackson. Houston's defense has gotten better. They're by no means elite. They've gotten better, but Lamar Jackson, I think, can cover up this defense. I think Houston's got a serious shot of upsetting Baltimore.
Really?
I think the game's going to be close. I have the Ravens in the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl over the Cowboys. That was my initial pick-em prediction. I think this is the Ravens' year. I think Lamar is not only going to win the MVP, Christian McCaffrey is going to come in second, unfortunately. But Lamar's earned it. I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get his team to a Super Bowl. I think it really all depends on the health of Zay Flowers. They've already said Mark Andrews, he's gone through practice. He's been a full-going practice. He is not being activated for this game tomorrow.
Not going to play. Isaiah Likely will. He's not going to. Flowers is playing, though, I think, isn't he?
But Baltimore's already thinking ahead. They're thinking about Andrews' longevity, not rushing him back too soon, giving him another week to ramp up, knowing if they make a run, they're going to need him. But again, they know that offense goes through two people. It's Jackson, it's Andrews. That's the offense. That's how it's been for years. That's how it's going to continue to go. Flowers incorporating in this become the second go-to option. But Lamar Jackson at 7,900, the question is he going to be chalk, or are people paying down for, and we'll get to it, Purdy, Goff, and Mayfield? Because if Lamar Jackson is coming in low-owned, I might find ways of getting Lamar Jackson in my lineups.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, though.
It is.
I like Jackson. I think he's going to have a lot of fantasy points this week. I think that Baltimore is going to put Houston in its place. It'll be interesting. They've got some key injuries on defense, and I think that's where CJ Stroud kind of comes into play. But, Baltimore. And Lamar Jackson should definitely get the award that we all know the NFL should have, which is quarterback of the year, and leave the MVP to an actual MVP instead of just giving it to a damn quarterback every year. It's foolish. It's lazy. Listen up, NFL. quarterback of the year, and MVP.
Not saying they can't be the same thing, but Christian
they shouldn't.
McCaffrey had one heck of a year.
Yo, you take him off of that team, they are not. I don't even think they're in the playoffs.
Nope. They would struggle, which is why
Ridiculous.
part of me thinks San Francisco is a bit of frauds. I don't think I'm not super high on Purdy being this elite quarterback. He's a great game manager. He's a great facilitator of the ball. He's super efficient.
Elite coaching.
No. Shanahan is an elite coach. But again, I'm not saying Purdy's bad. Purdy's really good. But still, but
I mean,
before we get to Mr. Brock Purdy,
he's great.
But before we get to Mr. Brock Purdy, Mahomes and Stroud, they have absolutely terrible matchups. They're both on the road. Mahomes is going to be without. No, I can't even say without wide receivers. He's had no wide receivers all year except for Rashee Rice.
Yeah,
but Sky Moore was not activated. Stroud might be the biggest leverage quarterback of the entire week. Who is going to play him on the road at Baltimore against one of the best defenses in the NFL this season?
I would tell you, but I probably shouldn't use that kind of language on the show.
Oh, jeez. Don't start blaming that random running back for the Colts that let Houston in. Sorry, Charlie.
Run the damn ball.
Just give it to Taylor.
188 yards. You need one. I get the decision. We've used that play before on fourth down situations, but
he catches that ball. Indy's in the playoffs.
We're seriously just shoving it up freaking the gut of Houston all day long. It worked all day long.
True. All right.
Overcoaching.
CJ Stroud. Let's just take a look at what he did last week against the Browns.
CJ Stroud is my bold prediction for the week, too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
2 pick sixes in this game.
Oh!
2 pick sixes in this game.
Ouch.
That's my bold prediction for the week.
So last week, he had 21 attempts for 16 completions, 274 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns, and 1 rushing attempt for 1 yard against the Browns. Now, they did play each other in week 1. That was his first start. Baltimore, you can't even look at that game. So if you want to go back and compare, you can't look at it. So I think CJ Stroud is great leverage.
I think you can, though. I think you can look at that game. And let me tell you why. It's not about for me, it's not about Stroud's inexperience at that point of the season as much as it is how that defense played against him. They were in his face all day long. And they're going to do it again.
That was his first game as a quarterback.
Doesn't matter. They handled that offensive line. That offensive line's the same. They handled that offensive line. I think they're going to do it again. Games are won in the trenches.
We'll see. I think the game's going to be a lot closer than people think. I still love Baltimore winning, but I would not be surprised if we see Houston upsetting. Let's get into the next set of quarterbacks that is going to be very popular this week because of pricing, and that's Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, and Baker Mayfield. 65, 63, 62, and 6,000 respectively. This is the range I think people are going to go in. Kudos to DraftKings for not allowing an under 6K quarterback.
Yep. I like that. That makes it interesting.
So let's talk about it.
There's some facts here I've got too.
All of these, my favorites are Goff and Mayfield. I feel way better in Mayfield because he's going to have to do a lot more than Goff. However, I think Brock Purdy could also go overlooked. Green Bay's defense, with all due respect to last week at the Cowboys, is not super scary.
No, but it's not as bad. This is the thing. I love this Detroit-Tampa Bay game. I am all over.
Oh, it's going to be an amazing game. Tampa,
you're talking about
let's
go. Of the worst defenses against the pass. This is for the quarterbacks, man. I've got Goff in lineups. I've got Baker Mayfield in lineups. Look, and we'll talk about this too with receivers, but just know that the Detroit Lions give up, I think it was 2.6, 2.7 yards per reception to outside receivers. It's the highest mark in the league.
Against
You could throw
Detroit?
on both of these guys. Detroit has like the worst pass defense in the league.
They're worse than Washington and versus perimeter wide receivers.
And there's certain metrics. There's certain metrics. They give up a lot per route.
Okay, so hold your love for Mike Evans for a bit, will you, please?
Yeah, excuse me. But I'm saying,
excuse me. Trey Palmer and whatever else they want to run out there.
This bodes well for Mayfield. Plus, you got the whole spicy thing going on. It's, makes it a little interesting too. He's going to come out and show out. He's going to lose, but he's going to come out and show out.
So
either one of them.
Gov has all the love for Mike Evans this week. I'm sorry, it's not Trey Palmer or whatever they were throwing to. What was that last week? What was that? How did Mike Evans not clean up last week?
Because he dropped two. He dropped two. It happens. It happens. They still won.
Someone get that man some pine tar.
But
I'm sorry, did I say that?
Outside receivers feast against the Detroit Lions.
I'm kidding.
It is their biggest
kidding.
weakness.
There is no pine tar. I'm ready for baseball season.
That's okay. You can use that in the NFL, can't you?
I have no idea.
Stick them.
I think if I'm gonna game stack, I'm gonna have several options of both quarterbacks.
Yep.
Gut wise, right now, it's Mayfield. I just think Detroit's got a way better 1-2 punch in their running game, even though you can't really run on either of these defenses. It's gonna be passing. But I prefer the combo of Montgomery and Gibbs to just Rashad White, who is a great running back, finally gets the respect he deserves. But you don't have that left hook, right hook combo. It's all you. So they can game plan against one running back. Right? Like they can. I think Mayfield has to do more in terms of offensive production than Jared Goff in this game.
Yeah, if Tampa Bay wants to win, it will be through the passing game. And they're going to try. Right. I mean, they're going to fail, but they're going to try.
So I have – let's just do this before we get into running back. I'm going to go – let's go with who we think is going to win. And then, let's just do that because I can go into other scenarios. I have Baltimore, San Francisco, Detroit, Buffalo. I have all the home teams winning.
I've got Detroit, I've got Buffalo, I've got Baltimore, and I've got San Francisco.
Yep. What I would like to see and what I think would be really fun, give me Houston over Baltimore. I think that would be really fun.
I want Green Bay over San Francisco.
That would also be really fun. Listen, Green Bay is just playing with house money. I don't think that they care.
The thing, if Green Bay can beat San Francisco, it just makes Detroit's path to the Super Bowl easier.
Listen,
that's what I want.
I'm rooting for the Lions. I'm rooting for the Lions.
And if the Lions get to the Super Bowl, I swear to the Lord above that Megatron better get a one-day contract and play at least one snap and catch one ball and get him a ring. And if you want to bring Barry in on it too, do it. Give Megatron a ring.
What? Okay. I don't know where that just came from, but sure. All right, let's move on.
Players ever.
Let's get on because quarterbacks are going to be paired with these guys, the running backs and the wide receivers. It's going to be a very weird stack week.
Yeah.
The runner-up for MVP, Christian McCaffrey's 8,800. Charlie.
He's chalk.
Charlie, flow chart. Is Green Bay on the slate?
Yep.
Does the other team employ a running back against Green Bay?
Yep. No, they play an MVP.
They have an MVP against them. Christian McCaffrey. You can run on Detroit. Christian McCaffrey will teleport. He'll come up with Star Trek teleportation at this point.
He's
Just
gonna be
play
all-
McCaffrey. 8,800. I don't give a bleep. Christian freaking McCaffrey. You can run on Green Bay. You play McCaffrey and move on from there.
The thing is, the one thing is he's 8,800. I mean, he's priced well above the other guys. And when we get to receivers, you're going to see
good
that
reason.
they did that with some receivers too. So if
Ooh,
you
I
want
like
McCaffrey,
I like what Gov's saying in chat. He's saying something different, and we'll talk about this when we get to wide receiver.
if you want McCaffrey,
Debo.
yeah,
Debo, long rushing touchdown.
Debo, but as AJ told you guys earlier, all hail the sun god. But McCaffrey it's going to be so hard unless. So this is what we were talking about in this last segment. You got to pay down. You got to use one of these bottom 3 quarterbacks if you want McCaffrey. I like McCaffrey. McCaffrey's going to probably put up the most points for a running back. You know, I like him, and then there's another guy that I think's got a shot to do that and stuff. But if you want McCaffrey, you have to pay down at quarterback.
That's the thing. And
Yep.
again, he pairs really nice with Purdy.
Yeah, I want to just stick him with Baker just to make it all work with the money. But
Yeah,
you're
and
absolutely right. I think Purdy and McCaffrey together would be a really, really good little stack.
So no running back is in a smash spot this week. There's no green in the OPRK this week. None.
No.
Jones against San Francisco. Look, with all due respect to Aaron Jones and his 3 touchdowns last week, almost had a 4th. With all due respect to Aaron Jones, I don't see it this week. No, I'm not playing A.J. Dillon. If Green Bay is going to win this, Jones is going to be effective. I don't think at $6,700 he's going to pay off. Could he get a touchdown? Sure. I don't see Jones paying off 67. I'd much rather take a shot on the explosivity of Jahmyr Gibbs for 100 less.
Yes, absolutely. I am right there with you. Gibbs, I like rolling the dice on Gibbs because I think he's going to have a lot to do with the passing game in his matchup. I think that makes him value. And I think that his streak of 100 yards or more for Aaron Jones ends this week. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll see. So Rachaad White, again, we've talked about it. So we talked about this at quarterback. The 1-2 punch that Detroit has that Tampa doesn't have. The one thing Tampa does have, Detroit doesn't, is Vita Vea. It's like running into a brick wall with that guy. You're just not going to win.
See, the thing, Detroit's got a really, really good run defense.
They are.
Really good run defense.
Tampa's got a run defense, and they have one elite, arguably the best run stopper in the NFL in Vita Vea.
And also, Aiden Hutchinson can do it all. That kid's oh my gosh.
Hutchinson's an absolute beast.
He really is. God, I wish he was a Colt. Man, that'd be fun. I think we all do, right? Let's just say we all want that guy to be on our team. You know, who wouldn't? That guy's awesome. That's one of the coolest, funnest things that I've liked about watching the Detroit games.
He's that guy on my dynasty team.
Amazing. Yeah. You know, and
I made it a point to trade. I made it a point to trade up into the first round to draft him.
Anyone who has seen even one episode of this show during the season knows that I have a big old man crush on Rachaad White. He was my league winner. The dude is a fantasy stud this year. But I brace my heart. I can't go with him this week.
Nope.
I really can't.
I like the 2 guys under him, though. I like the 2 guys under him and Pacheco and Cook.
I love Pacheco. I think that the gameplay in this game, I think is gonna bode in his favor. I think the weather is gonna bode in his favor. I think the fact that Kansas City only has one guy to throw it to, it's gonna be in his favor. I really like Pacheco. Pacheco's gonna be in a lot of my lineups. I feel like he should be chalked this week.
From a game script standpoint, not game theory, just a game script standpoint.
Love it for him.
If you're Kansas City, you're not playing this game at home. You're playing in Buffalo. You are on the road. The question becomes, does Kansas City control the clock with Pacheco, Rice, and Kelsey, because that's their offense? And if they get up, do they just start controlling it with Pacheco? You'll still have your shots to Rice, you'll still have your shots to Kelsey, and we'll get to them. I really like, from a game script standpoint, this better for Pacheco.
Yep, I do too.
I like Cook's upside, less floor, but more upside than Pacheco. We've seen Cook have these explosive games this season.
Yeah, but we've also seen him have some huge duds.
Correct. He also put up a ridiculous amount of receiving yards against this team in Week 14. So he had 10 rushing attempts for 58 yards, 5 catches, caught all of them for 83 receiving yards and a touchdown in Kansas City. Let's not forget, again, that's why I said lower floor, but I think this guy is going to be relied upon by the Bills. Let's face it, Stephon Diggs has not been elite this last half of the season. And I think Buffalo might have to lean on Cook a bit more. Could weather play a factor in this game? Who knows? But I can tell you, Sunday night, a lot of eyes in America and all over the world are going to be glued to their TVs for Kansas City Buffalo. That is the game of the weekend. Other than Tampa, Detroit, Kansas City Buffalo is the game of the weekend.
Yeah, Sunday's going to be fun. Be a good day to watch some football.
For sure. What are you doing with guys like Montgomery, Edwards, and Singletary?
So I'm probably going to have I'll probably take a couple of shots on Montgomery somewhere, just save some cash, just because there's always him getting some touchdowns is always going to be a possibility.
Yep.
They like to use him for that. You know, I mean, so him, Singletary, I am not going to touch. I'm just not going to touch.
Really tough to do against Baltimore.
Yeah, and look, okay, so what does it say there? 14th. All right, they're 14th overall for the whole season, but they're better the last half than they were the first half. They're also
pretty much healthy, except for I think Marlon Humphrey and Mark Andrews.
Who's not playing.
Right.
From what I heard, Humphreys is not playing.
Correct.
But that's going to affect more. Humphreys not playing affects more of the passing game.
Right, which is why I'm saying, like, that Baltimore front line, I think, is healthy.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't, Singletary, I don't think he's going to have a good game. Not to mention that in Houston is going to have to, a lot like Tampa Bay, they're going to have to throw to stay in this game.
Yeah.
Because if not, dude, they are going to, they're about to learn what smash mouth football is. And they're going to get smashed.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. They're going to be like a Pumpkins album from the 90s.
Yeah, I like Gus Edwards for what it's worth. Like, if I had to pick my favorite running backs of the week, it's McCaffrey, Edwards, and Pacheco. I just think Edwards is going to go overlooked. And quite frankly, I'm ready to move on to what is going to be the best position of the entire weekend. Let's move on to wide receiver. This is where money's going to be made. This is where decisions are going to have to be made in your lineups, what you're going to want to do. ASB.
Yeah, baby. Oh, hail the sun god. I love his blue hair. Ma, if you're watching, keep the blue hair. AJ and I might do it too.
If ASB is watching, thank you.
Yeah, I know, right? You've made my day if you are.
I think ASB is one of the best wide receiver players on the slate. I don't think he's the best. Because you know who the best is? You know who the best is?
It might be Evans.
Mike Evans season.
I'm telling you, outside receivers do some damage. And just think, look, last week, if he catches those two, oh my God.
Mike
fantasy
freaking
feast.
Evans season.
Yep.
This dude, you gave this stat. Detroit is one of the worst teams in the NFL this season in terms of passing. What is it? Perimeter wide receivers. I know Washington, we kept targeting
outside
wide receivers. Outside wide receivers.
Routes run to outside wide receivers. They are giving up the most in the league.
I love it. Mike Evans all in. I might lock him this week and just start all my lineups with Mike Evans in.
Yeah. He's a good one to have. Absolutely.
Right, Governor? If you're still hanging out in Twitch chat. Governor loves Mike Evans this week. So I think it's ASB and Mike Evans for me. Let's talk. And he agrees. He says yes. Let's talk about Debo.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we always go back to this. Is it Debo? Is it Ayuk? I think you play both. I don't think there's a clear winner. Talk to us about these while I pull up some
I think you play
stats.
Because of the price point. If you go, okay, so, I mean, you can go Debo, and I think he's going to do good if you want to try to get Debo and Evans in there together. But, I want Amara or I want Mike Evans. So I'd feel much better using Ayuk because, as we talked about in the running backs, CMC is going to be a really good one to have. And the way that they've priced the wide receivers, there's not a real good, usually I've got a really good cheap receiver to use. I don't really have that this week. Like the cheapest guy I even want to use may be Dubs, but really I want Rice. But Debo, it's such a toss-up. And I feel like Green Bay will probably focus more on Debo than they will Ayuk. So I think maybe that opens up some chances there. And overall, when it's all said and done, Ayuk had the better not by much, but Ayuk had the better fantasy season.
Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to pull this up.
My wife said the same thing last night.
So I have man zone coverage from week 17. I don't think I have week 18 coverage. But just looking off the stats from week 17, if we take a look at Green Bay, again, keep in mind Jair Alexander's back. So
do they play more zone or man? I haven't watched a lot of Green Bay games.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Because that does affect how you want to play Debo or you want to play.
At least halfway through the season, it did.
They're even. So Green Bay ranks as a below-average zone coverage team at limiting receiving yards in all categories, allowing 14.5% explosive play rate, 7.9 yards per coverage target, and 10.6 yards per reception. So they're pretty even in terms of they're both ranked 17th in man and zone as a week 17. It'd be really tough to see it here. So again, like if you take a look at where is the Niners? Ayuk does really well against man coverage. Debo does really well against both, but Ayuk has had the better season. Debo, you typically play against zone coverage.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a matter of preference at this point. Like I see nothing in stats that I can pull up that can give me that edge one way or another.
No, it's like it's a roll the dice. Roll the dice, flip a coin, however you want to do it. Draw straws, talk to your local shaman. I don't know. Whatever. But it's a crapshoot, man.
I think for me, I would want to take the chance on Debo if I could over Ayuk. I just think Ayuk, because he's the perimeter threat. And we know Debo can play a little more of that like slot, like scat back end arounds. They use Debo all over the place. You would have to think Ayuk would have to contend more with Jair Alexander and Darnell Savage coming out of craziness last week. So I think I'd feel better about Debo from a safe standpoint. Ayuk can burn a long touchdown. It's just it's really tough this week, right? Like there's no definitive stat to me one way or another. Definitely what to play.
The more we
Debo's 77, but Ayuk is 69. Like if you need the salary, go with Ayuk.
Yeah.
I just don't think he has a higher floor like Debo does, but Ayuk could have the higher ceiling. I prefer a Debo to Ayuk.
The more we talk about it, I don't think I'm going to touch either of them really.
Also fair. Because
Evans is right there.
We're playing Mike freaking Evans and ASB.
And Rice.
That's well. Let's let me get there. Kick him off the show. No, I'm kidding. Nico Collins against Baltimore, I think, is a really interesting call this week. Again, no Marlon Humphrey.
That's what makes this interesting, because that may change the way they play defense some.
Possibly. You have to stop Collins.
Yeah. I think that opens it up a little for Mechie too.
We'll get to him.
Possibly.
We'll get there.
I like I'll have some Collins in some lineups.
Yeah. I just think Collins is like overlooked.
As far as these guys, like if you're looking at St. Brown through Ayuk, I'd rather probably have Collins over Ayuk, Diggs, or Samuel.
Yeah, I can make the argument for that. Speaking of Stephon Diggs, man, this guy has really gone downhill this season.
He's old. He's just old and slow.
It's really good to start the season. It's like after that Denver game. I mean, I understand Denver's defense is really good. The Jets secondary, duh. Philly, okay, you did well against them. Kansas City, Dallas, the Chargers, New England. Yes, this is a tough stretch, but Miami and Pittsburgh, like, yeah, I understand he's had tough games.
Father Time can outrun any receiver.
I can't get there with Diggs this week.
No, I think the season, he's getting older. The season, I think, has worn him down. They even said that they used him less to try to keep him fresh. That should tell you what you need to know.
Yeah.
He is wearing down.
There's a team that could go after Pittman in the offseason.
Yes.
Sorry.
It scares me.
We were talking about the Colts beforehand, and I personally think that Indy needs to bring back Pittman. Charlie,
I think so
not
too.
Going to bring him back.
Don't think that they're going to be able to afford to.
Right.
And
Well,
if they use the tag, they're going to use it on Kenny Moore. I
hope
they do.
I would use it on Pittman. Rashee Rice. You play him. He's 6,800. Yes. He was a bright spot in my lineup last week. In a lot of my lineups.
Yeah.
It was a ton of fun. Now, we've talked about how Mike Evans and how Governor in chat over here is going to erect a statue of Mike Evans' honor this week. I'm kidding, Gov. Chris Godwin, 6,300. Is he going to be forgotten about, or are people going to want to get to Godwin and just try forcing in ASB and Debo? Because Godwin is still in the same great matchup that Detroit is. Excuse me, that Evans is in against Detroit.
I like Godwin. I don't want to stack Godwin and Evans. I don't want both of them.
But we've done that for so many years.
I just don't. I don't want both of them. But if I can't get Evans, if I gotta move money around and I can't get Evans, I got no problem using Godwin because I think he'll fare pretty well. I really do.
I want the
Godwin and St. Brown can make the money work a bit more.
I want the guys below him. I love Godwin. I'm going to play Godwin. This is why I wanted to focus some time on the wide receivers. Quarterback is okay. Running back is play McCaffrey and find two running backs. There are so many good wide receivers this week. I want to play Zay Flowers. I want to play Dobbs. What a career game for him last week. Jaden Reed, who was out there apparently just running wind sprints. He did absolutely nothing. I had
He let me down. Lineups. He let me down.
I'm back on Reed this week. Here is the big one for this week. Gabe Davis has once again been ruled out due to a knee injury.
Yeah. Oh, I know where you're going.
Do you see this guy right here? He's 3,800.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
I want Khalil Shakir this week.
I wanted more from him last week, so I'm tiny little bit sour on him because we could have had this pretty much the same conversation last week about him. And no Gabe Davis. That's a big deal for him. But, yeah, definitely, man, because I love his price.
Well, the
I
price
do love
is
his
amazing.
price. There are going to
3,800
be.
for Shakir.
This
This
is
is what
I'm
I
gonna
was
say.
talking about. Pay up for Allen, and you can get Shakir. You can get Diggs. Davis is out. You can get another Buffalo wide receiver. You can get the tight ends. You can get different if you pay up for Allen.
This is what I'll say about Shakir, though. All of the wide receivers that we've discussed in depth before
Yes, sir.
him
Mhm.
are all going to outscore him.
Woohoo! I don't know.
That's
Well, yeah,
what I'm going to say. But
It's Shakir.
price is right. For what you pay, he is going to pay off. He is
Mhm.
going to pay off. But
Uh,
those big 4 or 5 receivers are all going to outscore him by a bit, I think.
Look, Dontavian Wicks. Kitty cat.
Yeah, apparently.
Feed me, human.
Man.
You haven't fed me yet. I love it. Dontavian Wicks, I feel like, has become one of Jordan Love's favorite wide receiver targets. But see, here's the thing. Look at the fluctuations that he's had all season. Burst onto the scene, but then 7 targets, 2 targets, 7 targets, 2 targets. He's all over the place.
It's game script, I think, a lot too.
I'm taking shots on Wicks, but can we just get to the last Green Bay wide receiver? Christian Watson is too freaking cheap. He's too cheap. 4,200. Any interest in Christian Watson this week? You're thinking about it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'll take Josh Reynolds in that Detroit game over Christian Watson this week.
I'm taking Christian Watson over Josh Reynolds. I mean, I get what Reynolds did last week. 7 targets, 5 for 13 points. I get that.
7 targets the last 2 games.
I get it. And then you have Jamison Williams, who really hope they start utilizing him more next year.
I know, right?
Because he's too talented for this crap. I think Christian Watson has the highest upside in this range. I think he's got a low floor.
See, that's my thing. Whereas I think like both Shakir and Reynolds are going to have the targets to compensate for that low floor.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. And there's so many. Green Bay has a very fun wide receiving core.
Yeah.
Very interested to see where that goes in the next few seasons.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of options.
Yeah, let's face it. Watson is the alpha in that offense, followed by Dobbs and then Reed. That should be the 3. But Watson can't stay healthy, so Wicks has been able to get in there. So now you have this plethora of 4 freaking wide receivers that Jordan Love can throw to.
Reed will be his number 1 wide receiver next season.
Possibly.
I really think
it's going to be fun. For me, in terms of the Green Bay wide receivers for this week, the 4 Green Bay wide receivers, I'd rank them Reed, Watson, due to the upside, Dobbs, and then Wicks.
See,
I'm not point chasing after last week. That was a career game for Dobbs. I'm not point chasing. I actually might like Wicks more than Dobbs.
I like Dobbs and Reed. Reed, I think Reed is the true number 1 wide receiver on this team. I really do. And I
if
think
Watson can stay healthy, it's Watson.
Showing that. So I like him. I don't know what happened last week with him. I don't know why he just didn't get the targets. I think he had like 3 targets or something. If that, did it throw to him 3 times?
3 targets.
3 targets. Like what in the world?
Exactly.
The guy's been a beast, especially in the latter part of the season. And he was banged up and doing the thing. I mean,
yeah.
Come on. So I like him the most out of all of them. But
yeah.
I don't stand with Watson. I got him on the bottom of the list for Green Bay receivers this week. I think they're priced kind of the way they should be. I put Reed over Dobbs, but for me, it's Reed and Dobbs.
Let's talk about John Mechie III. And I want to move this along here, and we're going to end this pod here relatively soon. John Mechie III is 3,400. I'm probably not getting to this range. I'm probably not playing Mechie. The targets aren't there. I understand he did well last week. I don't care. Like, he's 3,400. I'd much rather take a shot on Bobby Treese than John Mechie if I had to pick one of them.
See, but everything coming out of Houston is saying that Woods isn't going to get much of anything this game. He's still banged up. He's just not. I like Mechie.
He's playing through stuff, maybe.
Play. I really like Mechie as a cheap play because it's a dart throw. It's going to be boom or bust. But dude, I'm telling you, they're going to have to. CJ Stroud's going to have to throw all day long, and he's going to be on his heels all day long. He's going to be throwing it to whoever he can see because Baltimore is going to be in that kid's face. They're going to wreck CJ Stroud. And I think that bodes well for Mechie because he's going to take any read he can get.
Like I said, I'm probably not getting there. I mean, part of me would much rather take a shot on Xavier Hutchinson, but Mechie's a very talented wide receiver.
I wouldn't hate you for putting him in the lineup either, especially, I mean, we got to save money somewhere, especially if you want Amon-Ra and you want Mike Evans, you got to go cheap.
Yep.
On a third receiver, and you got.
I wouldn't mind taking a shot on Justin.
QB, cheap on flex.
Justin Watson, Kansas City, David Moore, Trey Palmer. This is the range that we're in.
Out of all of these, I like Reynolds. I think of the cheap guys, he's got the most upside.
Yep.
Detroit's going to be throwing a lot. I'll take him over the others, and then Zay Flowers. And we didn't really say much, but with Mark Andrews not playing, Zay Flowers in, that bodes well for him.
Yeah, so you go right back to the well.
He's a good one.
Yep. Tight ends, we can pretty much wrap this up relatively quickly. Kelsey, if you play him. He's in my home stacks. You can one off your Buffalo stacks, however you want to do it. Sam Laporta is questionable. I expect him to play.
Yeah, he's trending in the right direction is what I heard.
Hyperextended his knee last week. That hit looked brutal. If he plays, you're playing him. If he doesn't play, lock button ASB.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not playing Brock White. I'm not playing Brock White if Laporta's out. If Laporta's out, there's a good chance Detroit loses this game. Because of what Laporta opens up for the offense. But
now, seriously, Tampa Bay was top 3 in points allowed against tight ends in fantasy football this season. And they were 1 or 2, I think. Mm-hmm. As far as fantasy points allowed against opposing tight ends.
Yeah, I'm going right back.
They are not good against tight ends. If Laporta plays, he is your TE1 on the week.
Yeah. If Laporta plays, I'm playing Laporta.
Yeah.
I'm also playing George Kittle. I'm playing Isaiah Likely. I'm playing Dalton Kincaid. I'm playing Cade Otton. I'm playing Dawson Knox.
Evan Jordan.
Dalton Schultz, what? He's just really happy because Reverend Jordan paid off for him last week. That's all. Charlie's really happy because Reverend Jordan paid off for him last week.
He's going to do it
fine.
Look,
if you want, I'm playing Dawson Knox before I played Reverend Jordan.
I'll probably actually play Otton before I play him. But
I agree. Otton against Detroit. Yes, please.
When it's all said and done, if you're like, oh my gosh, I've got like 2,400 per player left, and you still got like 3 spots to fill, that Jordan can help you do some stuff. And look, his floor is terrible, but he does have upside. He did score 15 fantasy points on basically 1 catch last week. So he only needs 1. He only needs 1. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. He only needs 1. 88 yards to get to the house.
Sorry for the yawning, everybody.
I really
there are a lot of good tight end plays this week. You can go.
I like Isaiah Likely a lot.
Yep, you can go double tight end this week, and I think be really fine. So
it might not be a bad strategy, given how tight ends are priced.
Yep. All right, let's get into it. We're going to go over our pick'ems here, then we're going to end the podcast. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and a flex. Only 1 quarterback this week. We only have 8 to choose from. Charlie, who's your 1 quarterback?
Baker Mayfield. Did I take yours?
I'll
go Jared Goff. I'll go Jared Goff.
He was the other one. There you go. You're playing Mayfield or Goff. If I had to give you one non-Tampa Detroit quarterback, it's Jackson.
Yes.
Stroud is your GPP quarterback of the week. Okay.
No love for love this week.
Running backs, can we just say his name together? 1, 2, 3. Christian McCaffrey.
Run, CMC, run.
Okay. Outside of Christian McCaffrey, I like James Cook.
I like Isaiah Pacheco.
There you go. Those are the plays. Now the fun one. 2 wide receivers. Not named ASB and Evans because we're both on both of them.
Oh, hail to Sun God.
So, obviously, we're both on ASB and we're on Evans. 2 wide receivers. Not named those 2 for the people. Who you got?
I want Rashid Rice. Like right on Rice, baby. He's going to score some points this week.
Who else? Rice and who?
Look, and the more I think about it, I'm really in on Zay Flowers.
Yep.
I really am.
Yep. He's my pick.
He's the only show in town. He's the only show in town. Yeah. Zay Flowers.
Nico Collins and Chris Godwin.
Good ones. Good ones. Like Collins.
Tight end. Going to be tough because there are so many.
So many good tight ends.
1 tight end.
Like looking at a Playboy.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, that's funny. I don't care who you are.
I didn't say it wasn't funny. I just don't want to get canceled.
Not named Laporta? Is that what you said?
Just 1 tight end.
I mean, look, if the dude plays and you can afford it, it's got to be Laporta.
Agreed.
I'll really get different. Does. But if
I'll get different.
Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, and I'll get different and say George Kittle. We didn't
even talk about him. Good matchup though. Good matchup.
Gets you different
this season, but good matchup.
Yep, I like Kittle. Again, if you want to get different, I like Kincaid.
Yeah,
Kincaid. Again, Cade Otton. There were so many good tight ends this week. I think it's a really good week to go double tight end, considering how much savings. Cade Otton, if he gets 5 targets, 5 receptions for 65 yards, can't ask for more than that at 3,500. We would love that for $3,500 wide receivers.
TD would just be gravy.
Absolutely. So that's gonna do it. Oh yeah, we have to go over defenses, don't we?
Are there defenses playing other than the Ravens?
Exactly. And you're paying for the Ravens 3,500, which could be chalk. I like, if it's okay with you, I'll take the first defense. I'll take the defense. I want the Bills at home.
You took mine.
So payback for earlier. I'm kidding. Bills for me.
Man. All right. Shoot. That's it. That's the only 2 on the board you can play, man. The Ravens, and that's why he wanted to go first on defense, because
there's nobody else.
Oh, ain't doing the Ravens. It's got to be the Bills. I mean,
49ers.
All right, you know what? Just for fun. Fun, then.
Oh no! Don't do it.
Cool.
Don't do it.
Cool.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Bucks.
Oh my god!
Because you know why? Overall, this season, they were actually one of the best average fantasy defenses in the league.
Where's my Discord soundboard sad horn soundtrack?
And here's the thing: that's a defense that could score a touchdown.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll roll this because I don't want to pay a lot of money for my defense. There's too many expensive guys I want this week.
That's kind of the reason I wanted to jump on the Bills.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because that's who I'm really going to use is the Bills.
So we're both on the Ravens. We're both on the Bills. I'll give you the 49ers. Charlie's giving you the Bucks. Thank you all so much for tuning in all season. We're going to be back. Are we doing the conference championships? Or are we just going to come back for the Super Bowl?
We can. I mean, we'll have 2 games. It'll be interesting. I mean, we can navigate through that. I'll leave that.
We'll see you next week for the conference championships.
Yeah,
good.
championship weekend.
We'll see you for the NFL Conference Championships. For Charlie, I'm Adam. We're getting out of here. Latest, peoples.